So I think coming into this work is it's changing so many things in so many different layers. It's almost like it starts with awareness, and then the points are just a cursory part of you connecting with your body.
What?
And
Points are a curse? What?
You're a curse, dude. Before activation, my life was pretty nice. So I thought.
It was boring and full of shit. What?
No, but
so let me tell you a story of my week. I have a big car.
Yeah.
Okay, just cause, and it's called the Beast, and the Beast is a very complex vehicle, where VW took every piece of technology that they could, and they put it into this car, which means there's no space for anything to happen. And when things go wrong, it's very difficult to find a practitioner who has any clue about what they're doing. So about 4 months ago, I was recommended that the upper control arms needed to be replaced, and the quote was ridiculous, and I was not trusting my practitioner. I was not trusting VW Claremont, because they just like overcharging people and doing work, blah, blah, blah. So I went to some guys this week, and they're good guys, and they did it, and it was going to be 4 hours. And then it was 6 hours, and then it was, would you mind coming tomorrow? And when I said, okay, cool, I'm about to get in the Uber, they were like, are you sure? Because we're not quite done. And so long story of, well, actually, in trying to do this, they had managed to break a plastic pipe, which blew out the vacuum pump for my brakes, so my brakes weren't working. Because of that, the computer then decided to randomly throw out error codes. I've got air suspension. It decided to put it in jack mode. Blah, 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 blah. They had specialists look at it. They had this, but they had, when they found the right person who actually arrived this morning, basically they'd fixed the mechanical pipe, so the brake was working. Because of that, when they rebooted the system, the power came back on. The problem was my car was still sitting skew. That was the air suspension, and left to right, not front to back. And so they got this technician in who is an expert in this, and he said to them, first of all, he'd already told them, take the battery out, leave it out for about 4 hours so the whole system resets. That's why the power and brakes came back on. But what he needed to do was come, because he had a master code for my car. My car's a 2006, but he had the master code. And the minute he typed in the master code, everything reset and everything is A-OK. And I just thought, I haven't met him. I want to find this guy. I want to buy him a drink, because this is a man who understood what my car needed in order to go back to its like factory settings, how we were designed to be. And so driving my car was a joy. But the thing is that the way I look at it with my car is I've had so many experiences of people who are apparently experts telling me, this is just how it's going to be when your car gets old. And I'm like, please don't bullshit. And when you get someone who actually understands how a complex system works and says it's not complex, it's simple, because it still has to do this, this, and this, and then lines it up, it's amazing. And why are we not that different? But what happens is we go, my arm's sore. So you go to the physio, you go to the doctor with the sore arm, and they wrap it up and do stuff. And you go, yeah, my arm seems to be better, but geez, I think I almost dislocated my shoulder. And they go, that's not us. What was amazing about the guys that I went to, the owner, Peter, amazing. Straight away, he said, when I'd arrived in my Uber, he goes, almost stops me before I come in and get angry. But he goes, Doug, I acknowledge that you drove your car in, the power was fine, the brakes were fine, and we were doing the upper control arms for you. I acknowledge that something we did made this happen, so we are responsible for finding the answer. And he managed my physiology. And I went, awesome. And he kept saying, thank you for your patience. I was like, thank you for your integrity. because most people, most therapists, when I fix this, oh no, the shoulder's got nothing to do with it. Oh, your knee cap keeps popping out. That's got nothing to do with us. They haven't got an overall understanding of the big picture of the body. And so this technician, this guy who came along, this magician, he had the big picture. So he could see how everything fitted in. This is what we want to teach. And the thing is that when we give the body what it needs, it responds immediately. And just like my car, he gave it the master code. Come to Doug, he will teach you the master code.
Are you actually saying that your car has a master point?
Of course. Yeah.
Beautiful, isn't it?
No, but that's it. It's kind of, but come on, we found this with the Parkineers. We found that certain things, there are certain points that have a greater influence over your system than others. And that doesn't mean that my point is the same as your point, but you do need to learn what are your points, what are the ones that are most significant, and what are the ones that you can use. So just like your, see how good my memory is, your plexis, whatever they
just think cataplexy.
Cataplexy, okay. No, so the dogoplexy, when they get that, when we can find almost master points for them, not 10 points you got to hit quickly when things go wrong, but 1 or 2 things, it's
well, that's what I was saying to you. I was going on to another girl because I got involved in them because our secretary at the center I work at, one of the receptionists, she has it. And that's how I got involved. And I saw her one day going into a cataplexy and she just had to lie down. So I went into her and I said, would you be okay if I just did some work around your jaw? And she said, and she couldn't hardly speak. And I just really gently went into the masseter because I could just see.
Yeah. And
she got control back quite quickly. She said that was the first time it had ever happened. Now, she'd been on my table a few times, but it was just really activation. Now we could see how it was going to help her physiology when she has an attack. And she said it's really...
And so, if we're working with an asthmatic, we do not try and teach them what to do with their asthma in the middle of an asthma attack. What we do is we teach them a strategy. And what we find most of the time is if they understand their triggers as they come along, because they're less stressed about them and less fearful of them, those triggers take longer and longer. So it's amazing how people with asthma often go, it's really weird. Since we've done that stuff and I have a strategy of what to do when I have an asthma attack, I haven't had an asthma attack. Really sorry. I'm like, it's funny we find that. But can you imagine if you're, and maybe you're going to tell me that actually this is what's happened now, that now that she knows there is something she can do when she goes there, if she notices early enough, she can do something and she might go, that's weird. I would have that bout happen maybe every 2 weeks. And now with all the stress and chaos going on, it's really weird. It's only happened once this whole year. And I'm just randomly, so what happens is when you lose the anxiety and the fear around something happening, because you've been given something that you can use, that you trust it, that you believe is effective to stop or slow down a process. Well, your physiology and your emotional state completely changes, so your outcomes completely change. And so this is also why it is so important that people have an understanding of what it's doing beyond just a rub this point. When you rub this point, this is what your body's doing. This is why your body's feeling that. It's not just rub a point. And so like, I love it when I get people going, hey, I've learned all the points. Have you got any more points for me? And I smile and go, well, that's cool. You know nothing, unfortunately. Anyone can rub points, but your system is looking for, what does it mean? How does it fit into who I am, what I do, how I behave when these stimuli and things happen? And if I like it, I can use it to strengthen and kind of almost double up and move into those good things. But if they're things that are taking me down, then I want to be able to get out of those. And I want to disrupt, and I don't want to go there. It doesn't mean you'll never go there, because obviously if you are truly a student of life, you're going to go and put yourself in places where you're going to fail and where you're going to fuck up and where you're going to fall on your face so that you can learn. Because if you haven't done those things, then you're not learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going back to why I asked you to come on today was, we've got the courses in England, and it's exactly
Can
that.
I come to those?
You're coming.
Am I invited?
You're invited, Douglas. You're invited. But I want to. I mean, I've been making those little what they call those promotions, and I've really enjoyed doing that. I find them really creative and fun to put together. But it's also how do we get the message over that, this isn't just another, because in some ways it's very difficult to explain what we do because it does everything. And it's hard to find.
I think the thing is that if you've never experienced this work before, we can't tell you all of the things that it is, because then you'll think that's bullshit. And I always remember there was a chiropractor in Chicago that we had done the level 1 on the weekend before, and on the level 2 when we were checking in, Chris Corfist and I were running it, and he just said to Doug and to Chris, "I'd just like to thank you for your marketing, because you undersold so completely what I've experienced in this last week with myself and my patients. But if you had tried to tell me that these are the things that were going to happen, I would have told you snake oil and I wouldn't be here." And so if it's your first time, we actually have to undersell completely. We have to give you something that almost sounds like anything else, but just a little bit intriguing. Once you've been on it once, now you've already expanded into more. So now when we start saying these things, you go, "Oh, it can also do that?" Well, it can. And that's why you and I know that we have people who've come on 10 level 1s. If it weren't for lockdown, they'd be on 15. But it is as simple as, because you realize that the more you go into this, the more there is. But you can't start out there, because this is overwhelming. It's like everyone wants to know what this is. Well, you know what? When I've got people who are in that place to teach it, I might even know what it is that I've got to teach, because I don't know either without people to teach. I just know their stuff. And it's beautiful.
What I love about this work is I can have some random person on my table. They've come in and I do their activations, whatever. And then they've had such a profound change. They're like, "How can I do this training?" And you're like, that never happens in other courses I teach. I teach a few other things. But they're like, "How can I do this training? Can I come on?" The woman I spoke to you about with the concussion, we've had lots of fun with her after speaking to you about the light and the dark, and then bringing in the tones of colors, and me wearing a stripy top and just freaking her out as she came into clinic, because she's like, stripes. And we had lots of fun, and she's like, "Can I come on this training?" And I'm like, "Well, we'll have a little chat about why you want to and what but it's that kind of that enthusiasm, and that changed me so much. And I'm fascinated by what you're telling me about this 1, 2, 3.
But see, the thing is that those who want to learn, I don't know, this is the term that came into my head. I've never used it before, but imagine that somebody gave you the keys to the kingdom. And you can give 1,000 people the keys to the kingdom, and most of them will stay right where they are, because that's where they are, and it's right and it's perfect. But someone who is looking, someone who is dissatisfied with what they have, they want those keys. That's it. And so this is not for everyone. If for every 1,000 people, this is probably not for you. If you're in doubt, it's not for you. It's okay. It's maybe next time. It's what we're looking for is if you think that the world is perfect as it is, wonderful. I don't. I want to show you why I don't, but I also want to show you what we can do about it. And
that first course you ran in Dublin, I looked around the room and Bev treated me, and I'm here. There was about 10 people who'd been in my clinic, and then suddenly they'd been to an intro workshop on what I was doing or what activation. And that is like every time you treat, Karen, I can go on, you know.
I think this is it. And what you showed me, I don't even know if you've sent them out. I love those little testimonial things, those little clips. Those were freaking brilliant, because that's really what it is. It's like we can say what we like, but actually someone who's gone through the training and they use it every day in their practice, how does it impact on them? You know, and why do they keep coming back? You know, is it the good drugs that we sell on the workshops? I don't know, but you know, look.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of drugs on the workshop. Obviously, so you put something in our coffee, because we keep coming back. What I am really wanting to do now is, it's the same thing over. Why don't more people know? How do we get this out?
Because no. I've realized that's no longer an important thing.
Well,
no, because 1,000 people are given the keys to the kingdom and 999 of them do nothing with it. So therefore, we're not looking for everybody. We're looking for the people who are ready.
Okay.
You know, and it really is very important. It's not a judgment on someone who doesn't want to. And they may be way better. Maybe, and it doesn't mean we can't learn from them. And I think that's also important. But the thing is that there is something in this work that has more to it. And I think my excitement, to be very honest, on now is up until how long have I been doing this? 18. Sure. So I've been teaching and training for about 18 years now. Good Lord. No wonder I'm tired. Oh, I must be old now. It's my 21st birthday next week. It's great. Should have seen me treating in nappies. But everything that was being done before, I think, was a nice to have. It was great to have activation. It was great to see people perform better in sport. It was great to see people move through their pain and their dysfunction. It was amazing to see people break through phobias and break through limitations and overcome depression and addiction and all of these things, because it's in so many different places. And it was great. But you know what? The point of discomfort, the Tony Robbins eons ago talked about a term of, there are two things that make people get up and move. The one is that the pot of gold over there is so enticing, and the other one is the rusty nail in your arse actually starting to hurt so much. And I've got to say right now that in the world, I think people have realized they've been sitting for a year and a half on a plethora of rusty nails that are not good. And so there seems, it feels like this work is more important now, and it's just my thing, more important now than ever before, because of where we as human beings in general are. There's some people that are thriving in this space, and I admire them for it, but most people aren't. And so many people that have so much good to give in the world are so tired, so fatigued, that they're unable to do that. And actually, we need those people stepping up again. We need those people. I don't need people fighting against narratives and stuff. I'm definitely not talking about that. I'm just saying, let's do our work. Let's do it well, and let's help people to at least help them function better within themselves and do better things, because we can, and we will. And so I don't need to reach more people. I need to reach people that are strong enough to make a difference.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Just, are you ready to make a difference? Because you can't help but make a difference. And you know, like just even this week, having my normal clients and then this one lady with the concussion, every day I'm now questioning, like, not what I don't know, but it's how much I could learn about this now, because like I knew nothing about cataplexy before I had those people. And that's opened up a whole world of exploration, and every single person who has it has this a different variation. And it's like how,
but you can always see how there's a thread that runs through it, and there's a way. But here's the thing, and here's the beauty and the trap, because there's the, you know, the gift and the curse. The gift is how much insight by following those pathways you can get for everything back there. because it's amazing. Someone with the cataplexy will have something that you'll go, oh, I see that. Oh, wow. All my clients with Achilles problems also have that. That's interesting. How did that happen? And you stop, but what the tendency, what we've got to do then is we've always got to have something we pull back to. And so what happens is so often we get further and further down that rabbit hole, and then we become an expert on something, and we lose what is the body trying to do? It's trying to breathe and it's trying to move, and that's what. And so we've got so clever, and I know that when I've gone deeper and deeper into studying something to become cleverer there, I actually become stupider in the basic stuff, and that's the stuff that makes all the difference. And so it's always about coming back to how does that amazing piece of detail impact on the simplicity of the breath? How does that crazy thing there impact on what did they do in their zone 1 as that was happening? And if we can keep bringing it back, it's referencing, it's drawing those two things, because what do we do? Before intervention, after. So when we can make that crazy piece of detail have meaning with the basics, and then you've got a way of allowing your client to understand something that seems so ridiculous, so silly, that nobody's ever been able to explain. You can actually show it to them and allow them to see it in such a simplistic way that they go, oh, wow, I can do something about that. And then the answer is always, of course you can. But if you didn't know that weird and wacky thing over there that you thought made you so cooked that, I'm not on that scale. Oh, the doctors say I'm the only one like that. I don't, all they know is nobody has a friggin' clue. But if we can help them tie that down to this, and then they can do something with it, voila, the magic, she happen. It's just like, holy shit, man. And it just happens. And it happens because the brain is this incredible system, and it just wants to understand it. It's orientation. It's orientation. Yeah. And so just as a little piece from me, I've realized that every time my system shuts down, the key is I've lost orientation. So me in the ocean, my newsletter last week, somehow I lost my orientation in the ocean. There was too much going on in the ocean, and I lost my orientation, and I literally was flapping around there like a little goofy useless. And it's amazing. But then I realized that when I nearly broke my neck on a sandbank, I thought I was landing on the sandbank like this, but I was actually upside down and hit it there and nearly broke my neck, and my legs went dead for 5 minutes and all of these lovely things. I lost orientation. I lost where I was in space and time. Now imagine that you have something like a narcolepsy, a cataplexy, that as it happens, you lose your orientation of yourself within space and time. And so if you can make that detail that seems so random mean something, you've just created orientation. I wonder if this thing is used in the world for orientation too. And the answer is absolutely. Every single navigation system uses gyroscopes. Even the space station. So just as a, I want you, yeah, so I'd love to say that I've had a year and a half of no brain activity. That would have been friggin' amazing. Not. But that's what we're going to bring. And yes, there is structure, and we're going to go through things as we do before, but the stories and the way we interpret and the way we make it relevant for what we're seeing day in and day out with our clients, with ourselves, with our friends, our family, those we care about, those that we love, gives us understanding. Understanding brings orientation. Orientation brings certainty. Certainty brings safety. When I feel safe, geez, I can expand out into the world and do good.
Yeah, absolutely.